I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, my name is Larry James. My company is Speak with Larry, no spaces. And I have a guest for you guys today, and she goes by the name of Amanda Jackson. And Ms. Jackson, she's a digital marketing and social media specialist for business and creatives. Is that your shingle,
That
Amanda?
is.
Oh,
That is
great,
me.
great. So welcome to the Speak with Larry show. I just call it that because uh, I had to title it something, right?
All right.
But anyway, I want you to introduce who you are to my audience, if you don't mind.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. So, as Larry said, my name is Amanda Jackson. I'm a digital marketing specialist. I've been working with creatives since 1999, a very long time. And then around 2011, 2012, I started working with entrepreneurs, and I teach them how to, have digital marketing literacy, teach
Mhm.
them how to attract leads and sales through content and engagement, and attract more traffic to their social media and websites.
Great, great. That's kind of in line with what I do also. Um, so, how is this coronavirus situation affecting your business as far as the social distancing and everything?
Well, so regarding my business, I've been working remotely since 2010. And so I've been doing it before it became popular.
Oh,
And so this is kind of just a routine for me, pretty much.
right.
I take a lot of client calls. I do a lot of things via the internet, and I do scheduling through the internet as well. Every once in a while, I do coaching in person, depends upon the client and what they need. But right now, with a coronavirus epidemic going on, my business is actually increasing or staying consistent.
Hmm.
And with that, it's interesting because I thought, maybe people would want to preserve some money and maybe not be in the mood to, do business as much. But right now, I have an influx of entrepreneurs and creatives saying that they want to be online, like I need to be online and sell my products and my services. So it's a very interesting time.
It is. It really is. And I get that same effect because actually my company helps people start their business. So a lot of people are interested in doing something different because they can kind of see the writing on the wall as far as, jobs after this pandemic is over, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because there's a different mindset when it comes to essential jobs now. The
Right.
essential jobs are actually being exposed, and they're not the ones with bachelors and masters and PhDs, right? They're not those
I
degrees.
always say the last shall be first, and
That's right.
so
That's right.
that's what's happening right now.
Plus, I believe from an entrepreneurial perspective, we should all be entrepreneurs anyway, in our own
Exactly.
right. And I believe
Hmm.
it should be based or in line with what we like, not
Hmm.
just to make the money, but what we like. Because when you do that, uh, and I think because the initial, I guess I'll say the first year is so difficult when you're kind of bootstrapping from the beginning, that it's necessary that it's doing something you enjoy, opposed
Right.
to just the amount of money you can make. So how did you actually get started in the digital marketing? Because marketing is a field that I love to talk about because that's so necessary in business, right?
Hmm. It is. Yes, you actually can't do without marketing. So whether you're a entrepreneur or creative, you need it in whatever aspect of business. And so I'd say like around 2011, 2012, I started really diving deep into digital marketing, but I have been working in social media since 2008 when Facebook first came about and all of that. I was one of those people who was trying to be an advocate for social media and tell businesses that they really needed to be on this platform.
Hmm.
It's free. You can reach thousands, perhaps millions of people. And also, later on became digital advertising. And so with paid social media ads, people wanted to know more about that. And so originally in my business, I started doing things like social media posts and different things like that. And so I was spending about 12, 14 hours a day doing social media posts, and I was so unhappy. And I said, you know what? I said, I want to teach people. I want to teach people how to engage through content because once we stop working together, they're not really sure on what I did, how my procedures were, what my processes were to get them those numbers. And so I said, I think it's best for me to go into strategy. So a lot of what I do is strategy to take the parts that they already have, put them together and create a system for them so
Uh-huh.
that whether whether our project is going on or not, they can still continue the system. And I've had clients that have come back to me for over 10 years that we've been working together. So it's a
Great.
pretty good fit when I incorporated that.
Absolutely. So, what else do you do besides this? I know this is time consuming, but do you spend any time doing anything else? What's your life like?
I do. Well, so I'm kind of a nerd. I really do love anything related to business and learning and entrepreneurship. And so before that, though, I was definitely into the creative arts. So creative writing was the first love of mine. I put out a book in 2018, and that book is Confessions of a Healing Heart, which is completely different from digital marketing.
Right.
And so that allowed for me, yeah, that allowed for me to have an outlet because what I realized was as an entrepreneur, it's great to, have these goals and objectives and always networking, but what you lose is that creative part of yourself.
Right.
And so, when you give, that's great. But at the same time, you have to save something for yourself. So that book for me was an outlet and then being able to share that with other people.
Right. 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 So, and
Yeah,
I believe we all have at least one book in us. If
we do.
yeah,
Hmm.
just redirect what all the things that we can't do and start to
Hmm.
focus on being able to create something. And it's really I find too that it's a lot about structure. Like when you write a
Hmm.
book, you have to have like the title, the name of the
Right,
chapters. You got to have that where you can see that in front of you, so you can
right.
insert the information, right?
Exactly,
And what,
exactly, and it's good to also write a book based upon. I'm what you call an emotional writer. So if I'm really excited or into something, I can just write pages and pages and pages. So,
wow,
so also, yeah. So learning what your writing style is and your technique. Some people can just get up and start writing a book, and other people it takes that emotional charge to do
right,
that. So,
right,
yeah.
absolutely. So, what astrological sign are you?
I'm a Libra, balancing
Libra.
the scales.
Do you find that Libras have a tendency to be kind of like nerdy, or no?
You know what? I think we have this emotional slash intelligence kind of makeup about us. So whereas we are emotional creatures and we care a lot about people and humanity and we'll go out of our way for people, we also have this intellectual side of us that we may not always show, or we may be that person where we're in a meeting with people and we'll come up with the idea and they'll say, oh, I didn't know she knew that, or oh, I didn't,
Mm,
so that kind of thing. So
right.
yeah, we're kind of, I'd say we're like diamonds in the rough, I'll say
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Do you find that spending a lot of time initially when you began this journey, right? Because I look at things like this as a journey.
Right.
Do you also have a 9 to 5 or a regular job too?
No, this is what I do. This is
Okay.
what
And
I
you've been
do.
doing this
Mhm.
since 2011?
That's right. I was a marketing manager at the Detroit Science Center. I lived in Detroit for about 9.5 years.
Mhm.
And so at this museum, I loved it because I was able to help children and help underserved populations come to a science museum. We realized that a lot of children in Detroit had never been to the science museum there. So working in marketing for all those years, I said, when they closed the museum for rebranding and they were having a round of layoffs,
Mhm.
uh, when once they closed, I said, you know what, I'm gonna take these skills that I learned and apply it to businesses. And I started meeting entrepreneurs, and then I started teaching classes. So last year I was a featured speaker at Detroit Startup Week, and
Okay.
so I found that doing classes and doing speaking events and of course media like this is I love it,
I do
because I
too.
get to
Yeah.
share my message everywhere.
Absolutely. And then another thing I focus on a lot is legacy, because I want
Hmm.
to leave something, because I've got children and grandchildren, right? So I like
Hmm.
for them to not necessarily them, but them too, but like the children that they have, down the
Right.
line, to be able to access some videos. And you can do that nowadays, because
Hmm.
videos, they're going to be here. So,
Definitely.
and that's one of the things about the beginning stages of learning an entrepreneurial journey that you're going to take, is that you can stay at home, you can go to YouTube, you can go to Google, do the research, create your own little videos, and before you know it, you're creating an audience, right? Because that's what we do online, is we create an audience, and then we
Mhm.
market to those audiences, right?
Right, exactly.
Mhm.
And that's what I dealing with entrepreneurs, and especially now within this time with everyone being in shelter in place and that whole type of thing, I really stress the importance of having products,
Hmm.
especially digital products. Ebooks can range from 10 pages to 100 pages. But the thing is, getting that content together, like you said, and uploading it, having it on a digital platform, whether it's, a worksheet for Etsy or it's an ebook for Amazon.
Hmm.
Those things are really, really important for people to have. Like right now, a digital product would be great if every entrepreneur or creative had a digital product because it can bring in income for them as well.
Absolutely. And it opens
Mhm.
up the doors because your mind starts to expand, right?
Mhm.
Okay, what
Mhm.
else can I do? Because I'm an author too. And
Nice.
when I wrote my first book, I knew nothing about writing, right? I knew
Mhm.
nothing about being an author. And then I knew less about how necessary marketing was, you know,
Mhm.
because I was like, once I finished the book, I was like, woo, that process is over. I made it. But what did I
Mhm.
make it to? Nobody knew me or nothing like that. So I
Right.
took like 9 months and just studied marketing, just marketing, just, or I guess overwhelmed myself with marketing, right? But then
Mhm.
I started to understand how it actually works, and I started to enjoy it. And
Right.
now it's actually part of who I really am. I really believe that everything we do as entrepreneurs has a little bit of marketing in it,
Mhm.
to some degree, because you're always branding yourself. You're always, letting people know who you are, what you stand for, which is what I believe that we all bring individually. I always like to say we're individually wrapped. So what you bring to the table, I can't bring. But
Mhm.
if I don't bring what I can bring, then the world misses out on that. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right. That's right. And it's interesting what you were talking about with being an entrepreneur and an author and learning marketing, which is very important because when I talk to clients about, who's your target market, who's your primary, secondary target market, they're what is that?
Yeah,
Or
right,
you,
right.
yeah, and so also too, when you were talking about branding when you first start off, I've had to rebrand myself probably 4 or 5 times since 2010.
Yep.
And it's getting those certifications and going to, conferences like Google Next and being, in the midst of all these different people and places. And you think that, oh, I can do this from behind a computer. That's one part of it, but the other part of it is going, of course, offline and meeting people in person too. When we get back to doing that, hopefully soon again.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's part of it too. But that's not so necessary in the beginning
Mhm.
for people who
Right.
are just learning what I call the skills, like the
Hmm.
terms, the how to go to certain sites and what sites to go to, those types of things like that. But
Hmm.
my particular clients are majority what we call baby boomers, right? So
Hmm.
baby boomers, they're either retired, about to retire, or interested in retiring within the next 3 to 5 years. So my suggestion is that they begin doing something now if they're going to
Right.
be retired in 3 to 5 years, so they kind of get a running start. Now, the ones who's already retired, they got a little time on their hands, so they can
Hmm.
learn the process too, right? Because it's a process you have to learn, especially if you're not computer literate, which is what
Hmm.
a lot of them aren't. So one of my challenges is getting them to understand how simple this machine here is, right? It's pretty much just cut and paste, isn't it?
It can be.
It can be, but in the
It can.
beginning stages, you don't want to overwhelm them with a lot. You just want to
Right.
kind of put them on a little,
Definitely.
something. I like 30, 60, and 90-day challenges, just put them on
That's
a
right.
process and learn like that so they can take
Hmm.
small bites and become confident, because you got to build
Hmm.
some confidence up along the way, right?
Right, exactly, exactly. And like you're saying, like, so I had a client here in San Francisco, Denise Perrier. She's in her 70s and she's a well-known jazz singer here.
Wow. And
And she will go on Facebook and post and do her thing. And so where I met her at, was more so doing email marketing and promoting her shows. So for me, working with creative artists as well was great because, they needed marketing too. And so I would tell them, you're a creative artist, but it's about, 15, 20% of talent and the rest is marketing. So if we're not getting you out there and having those, links where people can purchase your tickets or download your information or, anything like purchase art online, then
Hmm.
we're missing the mark. And so that too is what I also do a lot of is the email marketing. Because with email marketing, the great thing about that is you're not having to, scroll back to last week's feed on Facebook,
Right.
and figure out what was that link or what was that post. And
Right.
with email marketing, we can go directly to your inbox and you can, download or purchase something. And so that's what
Mhm.
I tell people. Always integrate email marketing because it's another way to create e-commerce for yourself.
And at the end of the day, the email marketing really becomes your bank because
It does.
that's
That's
who you
right.
market your products and services to
Mm-hmm.
continuously, and that's who gets to know you. Like personally.
Exactly.
Not like I know you, but I can identify you in a lineup, right? I can say, hey,
Right.
Amanda, right there. You can say, hey, that's Larry
Exactly.
right there. And
Mm-hmm.
I like to tell people that I was going to write a book one time called "The Day Our Paths Crossed," because I believe that
Mm,
the day your path crossed, just like your path crossed my life today. Now I
right.
see you, you see me. So you'll never be the same because you can
Mm-hmm.
never say, I don't know who Larry James is. And I can't say, I
That's
don't know
right.
who Amanda Jackson is. So there is
Mm-hmm.
some relevance to that. You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
and there's an energy that comes with that. And that we have the ability to discern whether that's good energy or bad energy.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, really, not like you can say, well, it went well, I had a good time, but whether the energy, where you felt the energy or not, right? And
Right.
I believe that's important when you're dealing with people because at the end of the day, as an entrepreneur, you're dealing with people.
Right.
People are who you are trying to convince or trying to let them be aware that you can help solve their problem. Now, with
Mm-hmm.
the email marketing, uh, one of the things that I have an interest about the email marketing when I began this process was as you're bringing people into your email list, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once you create the giveaway that you're going to give them, uh, do you normally recommend that that's an ebook, or do you normally recommend that that's like a checklist? Or I know it just varies, but does it vary per let's say you're dealing with people who are selling books, or you're dealing with people who are selling other products? Well, how does that work?
Well, Well, so for email marketing, so I'm going to take it back a step further because let's say you don't have their email address,
Hmm.
and let's say you do have the email address, right? So basically, I would do something that would be a lead magnet, like a checklist or a how-to tip sheet,
Okay.
something like that, because the ebook could be used actually for commerce, unless it's like a 5-page ebook or something like that. But I definitely may even run a digital ad on Facebook or Instagram, have that call to action where they could put in their email address
Hmm.
and then it automatically would send them that tip sheet. So that way, not only am I engaging, the people that I work with normally, like through MailChimp or Constant Contact, and send them a tip sheet or lead sheet, people could go from my, website or through social media and see that ad and put in that email address and get that, that lead magnet right there. And then from that, you could do something, you could either do the lead magnet where they download it,
Hmm.
and then you could lead them to a lead, what's called a lead page. It used to be called a squeeze page. You
Hmm.
can do that as well, which is just like a simple one-page website that gives them a call to action. Hey, you
Right.
downloaded, these 7 tips. Now, why don't you purchase this book? So, I can help you convert, clients to, let's say dedicated customers in like 7 days, and then they can pay for that there through the lead page. So basically, you run a whole, sales campaign right there in a matter of a few clicks.
Right.
So
Right. Those are called opt-in pages at one time.
that's right.
Yeah.
Definitely. You know it.
Now, do you see a ending for you in this journey that you're taking with this? Are you going to retire from this one day, or how does that work?
You know what? I always find myself evolving. I feel like I've lived about 9 different lives already.
I do.
From Yeah, so because from corporate to nonprofit, and then from the business aspect of, doing like the PR and things like that for creatives, and then going into social media now, digital marketing.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I would like to do more online courses. And then I would also like to travel. For instance, I really want to go into underserved communities. I feel like the internet, just for younger children, showing them how to apply for scholarships and what
Mm-hmm.
an online presence looks like for them, and how they can actually, make connections for their future,
Mhm.
starting online. And so that's important to me. Also, going into communities where people do not have digital literacy.
Uh-huh.
That's really important. That's a cause close to my heart. So those different things. And then, of course, the traveling and the speaking and doing media. I would love to have a podcast one day.
Uh-huh.
I'm not as brave as you to get on video all the time.
Well,
I'll
you
do it
gotta
on
practice,
social media.
right? You gotta practice.
Yeah,
That's yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Uh-huh.
I'll get on video, but it's mainly like for client things. And so I definitely feel like the podcast or media, that opens up a whole new chapter because like what
Absolutely.
you're doing, you can share, you can connect with people, you can build a network. And I mean, it's just endless. So I don't see myself retiring, but I see myself, being transformative and continue to grow.
Right,
So.
right. When you start, if you're going to talk to beginners about starting a business, would you
Mhm.
recommend that they create a blog or a website, or which one of those do you think is like should should be the first thing that they do? Because I know a lot of
So
times the website is is too, but so is a blog, right? It's kind of intensive. So which one would you do? Excuse me.
So I'm gonna incorporate what you said, but I'm gonna make it super simple for people because I think what happens is people get really hung up on all the things that they should do first or need to do. And so I would say, within that first 30 days of knowing what you want to do, go ahead and get your social media pages because a lot of people have personal Facebook pages, but then there's no business page.
Right.
There's no LinkedIn page. You could start with Facebook page for business and then the LinkedIn page to build your network. And then from there, if you have great visuals, then utilize, Instagram. But I definitely would stress the social media component first.
Hmm.
And then from there, you could do things like blogging on the LinkedIn platform or doing like mini blogs on Facebook, posting that and then leading it to your website or to a landing page. If you're uncomfortable and you're getting caught up in trying to figure out how to do a website, just do a landing page because the landing page, the opt-in page, what you really want to do is tell people this is me, this is what I do, and if you want more of what I do, buy something, give me your email or download. And you can do all that with the opt-in page. So you don't really have to, get really intricate with the website. In the beginning, maybe later on you develop that. But yeah, I would utilize social media. Definitely get an email marketing platform. But yeah, social media and then the landing page and then an email marketing platform. Then that way you can create a system because I'm really about systems and processes.
Hmm.
Because what happens is if I have email and I don't have social media, well, I'm missing out. And if I have social media and I don't have an opt-in or a landing page or some call to action on my website, then
Hmm.
I'm missing out there. So I create systems for people where they can integrate all of that together.
Hmm. What's would you consider yourself a consultant as well?
Oh yeah,
Yes. So
I do
do you
consulting. Yeah.
believe that on a scale from 1 to 10, how important would you say a mentor is as far as an individual beginning this process?
Oh, mentors are very important. From an early age, I was in the 10th grade and my mother had me going to business school during the summer. So
Really?
yeah, she was not playing. And so,
Right,
so
right.
from there, my teachers were mentors. People in the community were mentors. I grew up where I saw entrepreneurs at an early age. And so seeing all of that, and then I've even had clients become mentors, like Walter O'Brien, he's in Detroit. He has a insurance company where he helps people, get their insurance process. And then
Hmm.
Stephen Bruce, he is out of the Bay Area and he has a studio and he works with Art of the African Diaspora. He's a client slash mentor. So I never feel like a client is just a client because you never know, what they can
That's
teach you
right.
as well too. And
Uh,
so then also organizations like SCORE and SBA and
mhm.
I'm just a fanatic with going to their networking events. And then you got Wix, they have events, and then you have Squarespace and Square and
Right,
all of that
right.
stuff. So
And
yeah,
today too, almost anything you join, they have an organization that has
exactly.
like a,
Hmm.
you become
Hmm.
part of like a mastermind group or something like that. Those are
Right.
good too. I like those too. But
Definitely.
one more thing before we go. Uh,
Hmm.
how are you at speaking in front of an audience? Because a lot of people that's like terrifying to them, right? So
Right.
go ahead.
Oh, well, again, well, with being an emotional speaker, I mean, with emotional writer,
Uh-huh.
I would say I take that charge and I take it into speaking. So let's say I'm getting butterflies before I start a speaking engagement.
Okay.
I'll say, this too shall pass. And I think about really the purpose of why I'm there and what I'm going to share and what God has given me to share.
Hmm.
And so I feel like, when you finish a speaking engagement and somebody comes up to you and they say, I have hope, I've like you inspire me today. And that really touches me to be able to inspire someone I never met before.
Right.
And so I take that and I take my nerves and I just package it all together and I just say, let me go out here and do this. And it's a great feeling, yeah, definitely. I accept the challenge every time.
Great, great. Because I had a situation where there was a young lady that I was a part of Toastmasters for a while, right?
Hmm.
And she was this was her first time speaking, and she
Hmm.
was so nervous. I had never seen anybody that nervous to talk, and
Hmm.
it was only like 12 people. I was like,
Right.
why is she so nervous? I didn't realize people would get that, have that much anxiety built up behind just being in front of people talking. I was like, why are you just talking? But I guess it's best if you know your content, because you
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
get into your content. But
Oh, yeah.
you
Mhm.
have to learn those things, I guess, just like anything else, the first step is always the hardest, right?
That's right.
The decision to make that, okay, I'm going to jump, is
Mhm.
always the most difficult. And one of the things I like about us as human beings is that we are very creative. We can come up with the best ideas and the best
Mhm.
systems and processes for ourselves, but we have to make up in our mind that we want to do something, right?
Right,
You can't,
exactly.
I can't come to you and convince you. You have
Mhm.
to make up in your mind, once I make the introduction to you that this is possible to you, you still have to make up in your mind that that's something you want to do, right?
That's right. That's right. And too, I feel like once you know yourself
Hmm.
and you discover your purpose, then that takes you on a whole nother journey. You're still trying to
Absolutely.
figure out who you are and
Hmm.
you know your weaknesses and your strengths, but then you look at your weaknesses more and and you don't understand that you're on a journey and you're going to grow and you're going to get better and things are going to always change.
Hmm.
That knowing those things right there, it'll help you, with your nerves and anxiety and a lot of things that come along with that.
Absolutely. If you're going to recommend to somebody how they can identify what they have a passion for, because a lot of times people say, I don't know what I want to do, but I know I want to help people. Well,
Hmm.
how would you introduce them to look within and, find out what, because it always confuses me that you don't know what you like. I'm thinking you
Right.
should know what you like is you, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But a lot of people,
Well, yeah, and well, for me, so it's two parts of that. You can help people all day, and then you can still be broke and help people all day. So it's,
that's right.
you
That's
know,
right.
so one of the things is really looking at, like you said earlier, what do I love to do? What do I enjoy doing? But at the same time, could I do this for an extended amount of time?
Mhm.
And would I be willing to grow in this field? For instance, if I'm a baker and I bake one particular thing, am I willing to transition my recipe so that, I can serve 1,000 people instead of 10 people? Am I
Right,
willing
right,
to travel for this? What is my passion? Can I integrate business as well as a motivational aspect to this? What else do I like? And so for me, of course, understanding what it is that you like, but also looking at what is something that you would be willing to do for a long period of time. Because a lot of times people do things they like and then they get bored with it. And then they go to something else or something.
right.
And it's hard to build a brand when you're starting and stopping and stuff. You know what I mean? So
Right. And a lot of
yeah.
times people start based on the money too. And
Hmm.
I say the money starts off good, and then they're not really focusing on the business aspect of it. They just want to get the money quickly, and then the money stops. So they
Exactly.
end up going to something else. Or if the money never shows up, then they're going to go to
Hmm.
something else. That's why
Oh
I say
yeah.
go ahead. That's why I say it's important that you do it in line with what you enjoy, what you have a
Hmm.
passion for, especially when you're starting without going to the bank and getting a loan, right? Like if
Hmm.
you have an idea and you're going to go get a brick and mortar location, that's a totally different mindset than the internet business, right? With the internet
Right.
business, you can almost start this for free, right? Can't you?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
All you have to do is just because when people have the ability to get 1 million views on a video,
Exactly.
You need to be part of that world, because
Hmm.
you don't know what you're doing, But
Right.
that means there's a million people there that have access to that, right?
Right.
So you want to be in the internet, in the video game, in the 2020, in the year 2020. That's exactly the place to be. Because I like to write too, but I much rather watch a video or listen to an audio.
That's true.
Is
Yes.
that your primary source of gaining information?
It is. I listen to a lot of podcasts. For me, podcasts are flexible. I can put it in my pocket and throw on my
Right.
earphones and listen. Video, I do that more so at night because it's like my little TV station, So,
Me too.
um, yeah, and so, and you're right, you have to incorporate video in 2020. Without it, people don't always have the time to read, and
That's
people
right.
don't always want to read. Right now I started back blogging, so on my website, Social Marketing by Amanda, you'll see a couple of blog posts that I've started recently because I'm like, okay, people need to know how to do things, but
Hmm.
with the video, I feel like I could do more motivational, inspirational, directional things for people,
And
and
people
so.
have a short attention span. So if
Mhm.
believe it or not, people go a lot by what they see. Just,
Exactly.
if
Mhm.
if what they see attracts them or captures their curiosity, they'll listen a little bit longer, right?
Exactly.
That's what I find to be so interesting, because I'm really kind of like, I'm gonna make these people watch this video. So that
Right.
kind of thing. All right, listen,
Exactly.
Amanda, it's been a pleasure talking to you. That the wisdom
Same here. Thank
has
you for
come
having
across
me.
already. Maybe we can get together again sometimes, and just, because I like to keep everything casual, and like my objective this year is to do 50 of these interviews, right?
Wow,
Oh,
yes.
yeah. So you're number 6. So
Thank you.
I'm in a
Top
good place.
10.
I'm in a good click. I'm booked for the rest of the month. So
Yes.
I'll set my other system in process, because you'll be surprised. I've got a system that I've learned to hack from this guy on YouTube video, and I've been
Mhm.
able to. I'm over like 2,200 connections, I think it is, or 20
Nice.
something. I'm like, wow, that's impressive to me.
Mhm.
But and then it sends them all out the little information packet that I sent them, just like the one you received
Right.
said uh,
Definitely.
about the interview. So that's creating all those are going down to the email system too. I love that process. But listen, before you leave, one more time,
Yes.
would you tell my people what it is
Yes.
that you do, and we can go on for the next step.
Yes, my name is Amanda Jackson. I'm a digital marketing specialist. I teach entrepreneurs and creatives digital marketing literacy through social media, email marketing, and content. And you can find me at socialmarketingbyamanda.com and also on Facebook under the same name, Social Marketing by Amanda.
Great, great. Okay. Again, thanks a lot for joining me here today.
Thank you so
My
much.
name is Larry James. My company is Speak with Larry, no spaces. And as always, share with someone else what I've shared with you. Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you so much.